first I want to say welcome to Talking to Fastlane. I'm really honored to have you on the show, man.
Thank you so much. I'm really happy to be on your show. Thank you.
That's it. That's it. Big fan. Hey, you guys have the new album coming out. What is it? 2 days now, which is
Yeah,
it's getting closer. F.U.B.A.R. And
yeah,
I'll tell you what. There's so many great songs on this. Listening through, and it's really what you guys do. I mean, it's a great solid album. The new single "Total Disaster," obviously great song. The Kid. Uh, Let me say if I'm going to say this right. Cimitero Vivente.
yeah.
I guess I'm close, but my
Close.
favorite on it. My favorite on this one's "The Arrival," and I'm
Okay.
really happy to see you guys have a new album out. Tell us a little bit about this album and how this one came about.
Well, yeah. It's been a bit of a difficult process this time. Not in terms of songwriting, but in terms of um, being able to you know find all of us in a creative and let's say free environment, free from all of the commitments we have with the other bands that we play with, or things going on in our lives. So it's been a little bit difficult to find a common moment for the four of us.
Right.
So that's probably the first point that really made this album grow. It was the first seed, let's say. So a bit of a difficult moment for all of us, but this gave us the chance to work in a very instinctive way when it came to finally work on the songs and record the pre-productions and write the lyrics. It was very, very instinctive and very straight to the point. We didn't lose any time in trying to build songs for the sake of writing songs, but it was just, we need to play. We need to do it. We need to do it together. We need to write these songs and make finally a new album. So this was pretty much the mood in which F.U.B.A.R was conceived. And of course, the title says it all. I mean, after all these years of struggling and being in this environment in the music business with this band and with other bands, and we are kind of living now. We are all in our 40s, so we are kind of living this kind of uh, I would want to use the right word for it. I wouldn't call it disillusion, because it's not a real disillusion that we're talking about, but a little bit of distrust towards the the the, the musical scene. Let's put it like that. So
Right.
after all these years, after 5 albums of struggling, and Hell in the Club has always been a band that didn't care about numbers or results or doing this or doing that. It was just for the sake of uh playing this kind of music, the music that really started it all for us back in the 80s.
Right.
So it's kind of uncomfortable to feel a certain kind of pressure on us when it comes to record and publish and do this and do that, because you have to. And
Right. Right.
we would just like to go, be free and do this music just because we want it. So this is why F.U.B.A.R is called F.U.B.A.R, because we're a little bit sick of what surrounds us, but in the end we
Right.
enjoy doing what we do, and we love this album, by the way, uh mostly because it was born in this kind of mood. It's yeah, we really love what came of this.
I can definitely see that too. I mean, when you look at this type of music too, in certain areas in the world. It seems to be. I mean, it's always been a niche type thing. But I could see, the writing here, and when you just explain that piece, and that's really what this kind of music's about too. It's about rebellion and about you know, having that type of, hey, this to society and this to the industry. You know, was this kind of like something that was building up through the pandemic as well? Because I know a lot of the bands I talked to, man, that really hit them hard, and then, coming back into this, and this is a great album, though, man, really is.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Uh, yeah, the pandemic changed a lot of the rules that are, in place for this, especially for the business. A lot of people went out of the business after the pandemic. There was a big change also in the people who works in the record companies and the booking agencies. So of course it affected also the bands. First of all, the ones that live with their activity, their music. But I think that it really affected also bands like ours that really don't make a living out of this, especially with Elling the Club, not even close, but still, we lived this kind of bubble, inside this kind of bubble, where you thought, and it was like that, to have all the time in the world to make things, and it was so comfortable. It was so. I know it's absurd because there was nothing to be comfortable about during a pandemic or whatever we lived. But inside this bubble, it was like, okay, now we have all the time to just concentrate on the music, on the songs, and it was great for that. I know it sounds awful, but it did. As a musician or as a like member of a band like ours, and when all of this suddenly stopped, and suddenly you had to deal with deadlines and people wanting things, people asking for things. It was, oh my God, why am I doing this? It was a bit like that. So
Right.
yeah, I mean, there's worse in the world, but if you still live and try to concentrate on the music and on what you are doing, this is was a little bit discomforting, and like giving us a lot of doubts on what we were doing and why we were doing it.
Right. I could definitely see that. It's already pressure filled, business and everything. You mentioned earlier, going through 5 albums, and obviously this is your sixth, but you guys have an excellent chemistry. It just really seems that, when you listen to the music from album to album, the band has matured through each step. When you listen to this and you go back, do you really feel like this is something that it came out exactly the way you wanted it, and does it bring the vibe that you guys were looking for on this release?
Well, you talk about chemistry, and I think that this is one of the main ingredients of in the Club. I mean, things have been like working in a good way for in the Club because of this. Also live. I mean, when we play live, we don't need many rehearsals. We just go on stage and do what we do, and it's good because it's the four of us playing together, and especially because we had some band members, drummers. We had some change with the drummers, but me, Andy, and Pico, the bass player and the guitar player, when we are together, this kind of thing going on, and it's good. I don't know if the result of what we do is exactly as we expected it. Probably not. Probably we don't know until we just reach the last minute, and then we are excited about what we've done. But there's always been this kind of instinctive factor in the club, and with this album even more than before, because you know, we are always a little bit worried about, is this good enough? Is this song like working? Is it okay? Will people like it? We're always like thinking about this, and this time we just didn't think about this. We were just, okay, let's do what we do. The songs must like follow a certain kind of flow, and when we have 11 songs, we stop there. And of course, if there are some things that are just not good enough, we will change them. But we didn't have to. We just went with what we had, and we made the best from what we had.
That's cool. And I was going to bring that up about the recording process with you guys, and you know, when I listen to your vocals, I get so many different vibes, but the one that really stands out is Jeff Keith from Tesla in the early days, and I think that gives you guys, you know, a different element, you know, compared to some of the bands that are kind of like in this genre. Um, you know, the band delivers a heavy, but you guys are very melodic too. Tell us about, you know, the songwriting process for Hell in a Club. I mean, is it something to where you guys, you know, grab a hook, or is it something that you start with a, you know, a harmony? How does that work?
Well, first of all, thank you very much for the comparison. You're not the first one bringing up that name, so I'm very humbled. You know, talking about the big ones in the genre. And well, about the songwriting, it's like me working on some ideas and some songs and pre-productions, and then Andy and Pico working together, and now also Mark, the drummer, is working on his own. So we have like three fronts,
right.
And I think that I am working on a complete opposite way than the other guys, because you know, the other guys are always starting from an instrumental something, you know, maybe starting from a riff, and from the riff they go on and they build the song, imagining the vocals, but not writing the vocal melodies, because I do that for all of the songs.
Okay.
And that's where I find it difficult sometimes, because on the other hand, I write on the guitar, but always keeping in mind a melody or a chorus, or because vocal melodies are so important, you know. So I basically build the song on the melodies, or I mostly do that. So the difficult thing is when the other guys send me their demos and they're just instrumental songs, and sometimes I call them and say, well, what am I supposed to do here, guys? I mean, there are, you know, choruses going on. What do you want from this?
Right,
and then
right.
we start then we start, you know, discussing a little bit, and they say, oh, I was thinking a little bit like a verse like Kiss in that song, or it reminded me Motley Crue on the other song. Just, you know,
Right.
that's the idea, and then I build up something. Sometimes maybe I change a chord here, a chord there, and yeah, this is the way we work basically. And then we exchange all of the ideas that we come up with.
It's different when you do, you know, go through the writing process nowadays. You know, I'm sure like when you guys were, you know, first started, you know, and even in the early days was the go into the studio, and you know, and you had the engineers in there and the producer pounding things out. But you know, you probably have gone through both processes. I mean, what do you feel is like now? Do you prefer this style where you pass you know, songs back and forth through, you know, through the computer or phone?
Well, yeah, we tried a bit of the old ways as well, especially with our other bands. It was back in late 90s. Still, there was this kind of thing that first of all you write the songs in the rehearsal room, so you come up with ideas, with basically all of the band together. Maybe you bring some riffs that you wrote in your room, you know, but then it was all going on in the rehearsal room, like making the pre-productions like that. And then with the producer in the studio, building up the songs and maybe changing this or that because the producer told you, you know, this part is too long, this, you know, we don't need that, we don't need that, you know. Usually
Right.
it's you know, cut,
Right.
which is yeah, is wise most of the times. For example, I've been working with my vocals with Dennis Ward, the producer,
Great
with
producer.
Elvenking on one of the albums from Elvenking, and that was amazing. You know, you have the chance to work with someone who really knows how to work around melodies and production and the feeling of the performance, really. So that was a pretty much a life changer for me, and that happened just before we made the first Hell in the Club album. So I made the first Hell in the Club album with the experience that I got from Dennis Ward, which was amazing. I started to sing in a unique way for Hell in the Club, so different than what I do in Elvenking, or slightly different from. So yeah, it's pretty different now that we, you know, we all have our software on the computer, and we, you know, just hang around, work around here, and try ideas. I mean, there are, as for everything, there are the good sides of this and the downsides of working in front of a computer on your own. It's you don't have the same energy that you can have on a rehearsal room, in a rehearsal room, or with a producer, of course. But you know, we are constantly adapting. I mean, also as fans, as listeners, as followers of this genre, we are adapting. You know, we were used to vinyl CDs and buying them and exchanging, you know, like cassettes or CDs and listening music like that. And now we are listening to the music on a phone. So it's like it's a tough work of adapting all the time to to the new. So yeah, we try to make the best in this situation. Also because, you know, I live in near Venice, and the other guys live near between Milan and Torino, which is like 3-4 hours from where I live. So it would be really. I used to do the first days of the band. I used to go so often to Alessandria and rehearse a little bit, write songs together. But then it was too hard to travel by car all those times. So yeah, now we exchange ideas and we pick up the phone and talk about the songs. So it may not be the same, but it's fine enough, I suppose.
It's all great music in the end. You know, you mentioned that, you know, the early album, and you know, Let the Games Begin in 2011, and what I loved is you mentioned the Dennis Ward piece, which I think is a phenomenal producer. I mean, that guy he seems to, everything he does is gold.
Yeah.
You know, but there was so many good songs, you know, early with the band. I mean, you guys, you know, had a great platform. I mean, Natural Born Rockers, and you know, you had the mainstreamers like Since You're Not Here, you know, was a really cool song. Tell us about the early days, like when you guys formed. I mean, what was that like back when Hell in the Club started?
It was a time of great enthusiasm, because, you know, it was me and Andy met when we played. It was a festival, and we played with. I was playing with Elvenking, and he was playing with Secret Sphere. And even if both our bands were in the business since the late '90s, and we knew each other because we played in those bands, but we never met. never actually met, and it was 2009, and we met for the first time ever. And I remember I had like a Guns N' Roses t-shirt, and he had like another, you know, hard rock band. I don't remember now. And we just met, and we were like, "Oh, nice shirt, dude." And he was
Right,
like,
right.
"Nice shirt, dude." And it was from this highly philosophical exchange that we started talking, you know, and we discovered that we both were, you know, raised with this music, and uh, both born in the he's born in 1980, and I was born in 1981. So basically, we had the same kind of experiences in music when we were kids, you know, listening to bands like Guns N' Roses, Aerosmith, Motley Crue, Def Leppard, and all those great bands of the 80s. And we that was our imprint, you know, in music. And it told me, you know, I'm working on some songs. I'd like to have a hard rock band, and I'm searching for a singer, and you know, I would like to send you these songs, these demos, and if you like them, we may do something together. And that's where it all started. And as I said, it was a time of great enthusiasm, and of it was exciting, you know, to finally, after so many years, you know, going back to the roots and playing this kind of music, and like living it on your own skin. That was the most exciting of things, because yeah, it's been a passion since we were kids, and finally we were playing it. So it was really cool. And we wrote a lot of songs, and we were, you know, like exchanged ideas and lyrics. It was awesome. It hasn't changed a lot now. Of course, you know,
Right.
6 albums under the belt, and now we have like a higher, I would say that like yeah, more experience. We are playing these songs and this kind of music. We've been doing it for more than 10 years now, so it's we are more comfortable with it, but still it's exciting, you know. Even with this album, it was like paying a homage once again to these amazing bands like Dokken or Cinderella, or Kiss or Motley Crue. You know, and it's
Right.
always exciting because they touch a part of our, you know, when we were kids. So it's a
Right.
very sensitive side of us, right? So it's cool, always cool.
I grew up the same time you guys did, and being a fan for so long, all those years, and that's what I loved about, you know, about bands like you and what you do, is because, you know, it pays homage to that, but it also keeps it alive too. You see the,
Yeah.
you know, the guys that are a little younger now starting to step in, and these new bands. And you talked about some of those bands as influences, you know, to you and you as a vocalist. Is there is there anybody that we would be surprised at that you were influenced by, maybe outside of this genre, or somebody you think, hey, you know, Dave has this guy as an influence, but that's really cool. You know, somebody different.
You mean as a singer or?
No, yeah, I guess as a singer, as an influence, you know, to what you do as a band.
Well, I think that as influencers, there are so many different things coming from many different things now. That yeah, probably there are a bunch that you wouldn't expect. I suppose. For example, you know, in the pot, there are artists like Michael Jackson or Madonna, still from the 80s, not properly rock or hard rock, but highly influential as entertainers and as builders of songs, of amazing songs. And
Right, right,
that's that's uh, that's incredible. And it has always been a matter of like how would I say, like really influence for the songwriting, for how to conceive a song. And bands like the Beatles, for example. the Beatles are among the biggest influences for me as a songwriters, because they kind of changed the music with their way, with the way they were writing songs. So these are probably things that you wouldn't expect. But I also have a lot of artists that come from the extreme metal scene, and all of those artists that are capable of creating like atmospheres or performances that go beyond the pure musical aspect, so may them be theatrical, like King Diamond, for example, or extreme and totally focused, like Eric, the singer from Watain, for example. All of those things put together are, like the melting pot where I get my inspirations from.
And you mentioned all those bands and all that stuff, and it really comes out as a listener, because you guys, not only just watching the performance, watch performance videos, obviously, and unfortunately, I never got to see you live being in the U.S., and I'd love to have, a lot of the bands from Europe be great over here.
We would like to come.
I think what's great about what you do is the fact that it's not just a recording to you guys. I mean, yes, a recording, it's great songs, but it also has a good live feel too. When you watch the videos, you can tell that, hey, these guys are really, performers too. It's not just about the music, it's about passing this on to the fans and getting that experience. And I think you do a fantastic job of that.
Thank you so much. I mean, yeah, that's the goal. I mean, it's not just about the music, as you said. It's like trying to get out of us an experience, a whole experience, and this includes the music, of course, which is the main thing, but includes also all the feelings that we got from the music that we listened to when we were kids, or I don't know, just the other day. It's kind of embracing all of this and trying to express it and give it to our fans and to people who listen to us.
That's always great to hear. It's great to hear. And I always know when I see Hell in a Club with anything new, you guys already have the expectation, and I know you were talking about that earlier. Hey, we have to have these, deadlines and everything, but it says a lot about you and the band as musicians that you guys take that professionalism so seriously, and it comes across in the quality of the music and song structure, and where the chorus is hit, and the songs are very memorable too.
Thank you.
So I know we don't have a whole lot of time here. We got 30 minutes, I believe, but
we can, if you have time, I have time. So
we can roll. Hey,
yeah,
that's always good.
No problem.
What is the I'm always curious, what is the metal scene like over in Europe and Italy right now? I mean, is it really kicking over there? I mean, is it different than, let's say, we have in the U.S.? Because U.S., we're segmented still. I mean, but the bands still come in smaller venues, like say bands like L.A. Guns, or we just saw Foreigner a few weeks ago, and that was great to see that. What's the scene like over in Italy and over in Europe for bands like you guys?
Well, in Europe, it's still kicking. I think it's there's a lot of a lot of shows, a lot of festivals, especially. Of course, we have to probably wait a couple of years more to see the real effects of the pandemic, because now it was like getting back all the things that were canceled or that didn't happen because of that. So probably last year and this year there were probably even too many festivals and things going on, because, you know, as a fan, I wanted to go to, I don't know, like 10 festivals, but couldn't. Just can't afford it, man.
That's right.
So
That's right.
yeah, I guess that happened also to a lot of other fans as well. So I was lucky enough to be in Norway last week, and be at the Beyond the Gates festival, which is a amazing festival over there. And yeah, it was full. It was, you know, sold out, and there was a lot of people there enjoying. And so yeah, I believe that the scene is pretty much alive. Um, I'm a bit uncertain about the direction that metal is taking at the moment, because there are a lot of these bands that are more kind of how to put it, more like scenery involved, and more kind of like a joke, you know, like
No
I don't
substance.
know, yeah, I don't know how how to describe that better than that, but it was like it is like missing a little bit of the core of the sense that it used to have back in the day. So I'm a little bit skeptic about that, but still the scene is kicking. About Italy, Italy's always been a bit different. I don't know. It's a scene with a big potential, but I don't know why. But there are always issues here. Always issues with the bands. Always issues with the logistics when they try to organize something. Of course, there are good festivals here, but sometimes they're like a chance that is missed. For example, I was at the Maiden show. It was like 2 or 3 weeks ago in Milan, and despite the organization, the place was awful. You know, it was too packed, and it's you don't enjoy a show like that. You
Right.
like come home and say the show was great, but damn, it was, you know, too crowded and blah blah blah. You know, so it's always a little bit like that. It's in Italy, you know.
Yeah.
There are great potentials, but you know, somehow we miss them again and again. So I really hope that will change sooner or later. Anyway, yeah, it's not bad, anyways.
It's always good to hear. I mean, even if it's, even, slowing down even a little bit, it's still kicking, with the fans. Are you starting to see a lot more of the younger people coming into shows? Like even, whether it be you, Hell in a Club, or any of the things that you're seeing right now?
Yeah, I mean, there has been a time when I was not noticing this. There were no young fans, so I was starting to, to despair, because it was like, man, this whole thing is dying right here, right now.
Right,
Uh,
right.
Only people like, from my age, from 40, 50, 60, and on and on and on, but no young fans. But lately I'm starting to see a lot of youngsters, and it's cool to see that finally
Right, right.
something might have happened. So yeah, it's great to see young people at the shows. It means that the genre can have hope for the future, and keep going on and on. And as you said earlier, there are a lot of young bands now playing this kind of retro, hard rock or retro heavy metal, which is amazing. I'm looking at
Yeah.
all these bands, and they're playing so good. You know, we have to pay a little attention now, because they might sound all the same, but when they keep a certain kind of personality, there are a lot of good bands, very young, playing this, let's say, old
Right,
style,
right, right.
but they're doing it greatly. So yeah, maybe there's hope.
Hey, we hope so. We hope so.
Yeah, yeah.
It's great to hear that, from your perspective, being, like I said, in Europe, and and seeing that. And I start to see it here in the U.S. too, like at the Foreigner show, for example. I mean, right in the front row, you have a young kid in a Pantera T-shirt at a Foreigner show. So I
Perfect.
mean, what better way? I mean, he's touching two different genres, and it was cool to see. What
Great.
does 2023 and even into 2024 have in store for Hell in a Club? What do you guys have planned? Is there any shows coming up? Anything that we could look forward to? Even if it's something I get to see on YouTube, even.
Well, at the moment, yeah, of course, we are a bit concentrated on the release of the album, which, yeah, it's gonna happen in 2 days on Friday. It's a bit odd in Italy because here it's like full holiday for everyone. So I don't know this August 11th release date if it will affect the album, because for Italy it's like no one is paying attention, but probably in Europe and in the US they don't give a shit about August because here in Italy we have this like religious idea that everything should shut down in August.
Right.
But it's so hot, and probably they're right.
Right.
No one wants to work or do anything in August. Uh,
That's
anyway,
right.
yeah. So yeah, we're a bit on that, but we are gonna have a release show in Milan on the September 15th. I think we haven't told anyone about it yet. Maybe you're the first one, but you don't care because you live in the US, so it's gonna be
That's right. Boy, I'd love to be. I'm in here in spirit, Dave. I'm in here in spirit.
cool. And we are being approached by some festivals now in Europe, so we will probably play some festivals in 2024, and we'll see. I mean, we would like to tour a little bit, maybe this fall, and yeah, and then have some festivals in 2024. That's the plan. We don't have anything huge in the plans because every time we plan something it all goes to hell, so we we yeah, that's how it goes for us in the club. But so yeah, we will go one step at a time, some shows here and there, and let's see how the album will be received by the fans. That's the most important thing after all.
I think you guys are going to do really well with this. I mean,
Thank you.
it's heavy, but it's still commercial too. For the fans. I mean, it's a good listen all the way through. And
Cool. Thank you.
Dave, I wish you the best of luck with this, man. I really
Thank
do.
you
I mean,
so
you guys
much,
deserve
man.
it. I know it
Thank you
takes
so much.
I know it takes it's a lot of work, that you
Yeah,
put in to do this. I know that.
that's for sure. That's for sure. And yeah, and by the way, the on Friday we will also release a new lyric video for the kid for the song, which is
Nice, great
really
song.
amazing. So I can't wait to release it. Yeah.
I can't wait to hear it. Hey, in closing, I tell all the artists this, and it really comes from my heart. And the fact that, thank you for doing what you do, man. Because it's so life changing. As far as the music and the emotions that it brings and it still brings, and it's such a huge part of my life. And I know I speak for so many other fans, but thanks for doing what you do, and keep on doing it, man. Because we're listening.
Thank you so much, man. I mean, I totally understand your words because this is what I would say to all the bands that I love as a fan. So thank you so much. It's great to hear that and to talk to people like you. Thank you so much for keeping the flame alive.
Hey, we got to all work together to keep it rolling,
yeah.
man.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I really appreciate it, Dave. And if you guys ever have anything going on again, please reach out, man. I'd love to have you on the show again. I'll always love listening to you. And again, F.U.B.A.R. August 11th. The kid video comes out August 11th.
Yeah.
Get out there and listen to these guys because this is some good stuff. If you're an 80s classic rock fan, all the way until now, these guys are the ones that do it right. I think it's your best album. You feel that?
Uh, Probably it is actually. I until I listened to the final mix, I didn't have very high hopes because, as I said, it was so instinctive that didn't pay much attention on certain things.
Right.
But then when I listened to the final mix, I was glad we didn't. And yeah, probably it's one of the best things we've ever done because of this. So yeah, let's see if also the fans will think it that way. Anyway, thank you for letting us know this, and yeah, cool.
That's really good stuff, man. I wish you the best of luck, and thanks again for sitting in with me. Very
Thank
much
you so much.
appreciated.
Really, really, the same for me. It's been a great pleasure. Thank you, John.
I'll get the interview out there, and I'll keep promoting you guys, man. Keep doing it.
Thank you.
All right.
Absolutely. Thank you
Thanks,
so
David.
much.
Have a great night.
Bye. You too.
Bye.
Bye, John. Thank
Thank
you.
you.